Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the All Around Growth podcast. This is a show that provides insight and tools to building the life and homestead of your dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser, and I am your host. Today is Thursday, January 20th, 2022, and this is episode number 267 of the show. Today we're going to talk about blockchain, and I am going to explain it as though you were 5. Now, to give some backstory on this, a couple days ago, I did a show on trending Twitter threads, received some positive feedback on that, and this is an idea that I have been thinking about for a little while, and because I'm taking the day off again today before traveling into the big city for another functional medicine follow-up, I decided to give this new idea a go. So what I've done is I've logged some interesting threads that I am utilizing as tools and resources to build the life and homestead of my dreams. So one of these tools is this Twitter thread, which I've saved for reference, and I will link to this in the show notes. The guy's name is Idris, and his handle is PlanetSoft, but think instead of the P at the beginning, O. So OlanetSoft. Okay, here we go. I'm going to begin reading the chain, or the thread rather. Blockchain. Explain like I am 5. I'll share what I've learned about blockchain in this thread. #Web3. You've probably heard the term blockchain before, right? In a moment, we'll be able to fully understand it. What exactly is a blockchain? Blockchain is a method of storing data so that it is available. Blockchain is a method of storing data so that it is difficult or impossible to alter, hack, or cheat it. How does it work? A blockchain is a digital log of duplicated transactions and distributed across the blockchain's complete network of computer systems. Sounds interesting? Let's talk about why it's referred to as blockchain, what's in the block, and how does chain come in. We did explain earlier that blockchain is a digital log of transactions, right? Each block in the chain contains several transactions, and each time a new transaction takes place on the blockchain, a record of that transaction is added to the ledger of each participant. Blockchain is a distributed ledger technology in which transactions are recorded using a hash and immutable cryptographic signature. What is a distributed ledger technology? You know what? I'm going to reread this last little tweet because I think that that's important, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to wet my whistle with a sip of my decaf chai latte here and see if I can't capture an audio clip from this and make this worth sharing. So here we go. Each block in the chain contains several transactions, and each time a new transaction takes place on the blockchain, a record of that transaction is added to the ledger of each participant. Blockchain is a distributed ledger technology in which transactions are recorded using a hash, an immutable cryptographic signature. What is distributed ledger technology? Distributed ledger technology is a decentralized database that is administered by various people, otherwise known as a DLT. And you can read more about distributed ledger on Wikipedia. And I will also link to that in the show notes, in addition to this thread. Back to the thread. Still curious about how blockchain works? To establish an unbreakable and unchangeable chain, blockchain combines the identifier of the previous block with the identifier of the next block. But how can you keep the data manageable as more blocks are added? Combining a hashtag algorithm and a condensing data structure is known as a Merkle tree and is the key to keeping blockchain data manageable and secure, which means it's secure. Oh, we mentioned hashtag and Merkle tree, right? Let us understand what those terms mean. What exactly is hashing? When a transaction is confirmed and added to a block in a chain, it is run through a hash algorithm to generate a collection of unique digits and letters, similar to what a random password generator would generate. After then, two transaction hashes will be concentrated and run through the hash algorithm to generate a new unique hash. Mixing several transactions into new hashes repeats itself until only one hash remains, the root hash of several transactions. Hashes are unique given that they only work in one direction, which is a vital security characteristic for blockchains. While the same data will always provide the same hash of numbers and letters, it is impossible to unhash or reverse the process and interpret the original data using the numbers and letters. What is a Merkle tree and what does it do? If you repeat the hashing procedure with precisely identical transactions, you'll get precisely the same hashes. Any change in any section of the data will result in a completely different hash, affecting every iteration of hashes all the way to the root, allowing anyone using the blockchain to check that the data has not been tampered with. A Merkle tree is what this is called. And then inside this thread there is a diagram that's titled A Simplified Diagram by Euromoney.com. And it is a simplified Merkle tree diagram. Again, all of this will be linked to in the show notes. Back to the thread. As we go along, we'll learn about some fantastic aspects regarding Web3, as well as some everyday words. That's it for now. Please retweet the first tweet and follow OlanetSoft for more, as I'll be discussing the basics of Web3 and resources and how to get started. Okay. I just went to this individual's profile, followed it. I forget where I came across this thread. And before I talk about anything further, sharing my own experience with blockchain and how I think that factors into or has the potential to build the life and homestead of your dreams, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, and I am just about the worst person that you could seek financial guidance from. I take that back. That's a little bit too self-deprecating. Speaking of financial, there is a Financial Peace University course coming up this evening, the first of a 9-week series. For those interested, I'll link to that in the show notes. You can check it out. It's a virtual class that I'm hosting. And if you're interested and you want to get in, today's literally the last day. So check that out as well. Or if you're interested, you can just see what's up. The program within Dave Ramsey has changed over the years. And you can follow that link and see how it's changed. And maybe I will talk about that later. Okay, so blockchain. Explain like I am 5. And this individual, Idris, has shared what he has learned about blockchain in the thread that I just read. The reason why I chose this thread, along with many others that I've noted and saved for future reference to share and subsequently discuss my own experience with, or at least what I'd like to do, is because once I got out of debt, I got to the point where I was investing. And this has been a process. Once I got out of debt, let me rephrase that. I didn't start investing, right? That's not how the baby steps work. Baby step 1, save $1,000 in your baby emergency fund. Baby step 2, use the snowball method to pay off all of your consumer debts. Baby step 3, bump up that emergency fund into a 3 to 6 month living expenses in a liquid cash account, like a money market account. And then baby step 4 is invest 15% of your income. Full stop, right? Invest 15% of your income. Now, in this process, and over the years, I have experimented a little bit with investments. And what I mean by experimentation with investments is buying some individual stocks on my own when I thought I had a lead on something. And I first experimented with doing this in 2010, 2011, when I was working for a utility. And to make a long story short, I bought several $100s worth of stock, and that has performed okay over the years. Not exceptionally well, to the point where I want to look into it more, because I'm not quite there yet. But because my focus has been elsewhere, and especially over the last 5 years, working through these baby steps and integrating them into my life and making that a lifestyle. And going through this process of functional medicine has allowed me to, or not allowed me to, but has, I've chosen to accept some debt in going through a lot of these processes, because surprisingly or not surprisingly, depending on your perspective and where you want this conversation to go, surprisingly or not surprisingly, much of what functional medicine consists of is not covered by insurance. And what are we looking at with functional medicine? Nutrition, sleep, stress, and movement. But we don't focus on this. Our insurance doesn't cover this. Anyways, I digress. Just because I've chosen to shoulder some more debt and revert back to baby step 2 while balancing baby step 3 and saving in addition to paying this off, because I'm on a payment plan and there's no interest. So kind of combo baby step 2, 3. So I'm learning as much as I can about investing beyond traditional investment types like that which I just mentioned, individual stocks or funds through a 401k or a Roth IRA, which most people are familiar with through their employers or individually funding. That's the extent of my investment experience, along with working for an employee-owned company and being a shareholder in that as well. Over time, there's been more talk about cryptocurrency and blockchain-based technology, and that has led me to learn or begin learning about cryptocurrency. And one of the ways that I've learned about cryptocurrency has been through John Bush and the Live Free Academy, I believe, or is it Live Free Now? Either way, I'll link to it in the show notes. I believe it's livefree.academy. And he hosted a cryptocurrency for beginners course. And one of the books that he mentioned, because I believe it was something that he was interested in and did for a while, was a book called The Beginner's Guide to Day Trading Online. And I'll read from the back of the cover to give you some insight into what this book is and why he mentioned it and why I'm interested in it and why I own a copy of it now. Day trading is highly profitable and highly tumultuous. Moreover, the financial markets have changed considerably in recent years. Expert author Tony Turner gives you the latest information for mastering the markets, including decimalization of stock prices, new trading products such as E-minis and exchange-traded funds, precision entries and exits, the new breed of trader. Written in an accessible step-by-step manner, A Beginner's Guide to Day Trading Online, 2nd edition, shows how to day trade stocks in today's market. And this isn't, yes, this is the 2nd edition, but this is a book that isn't new, but it provides some good insight into day trading and swing trading and basic information on how to read charts and get into technical analysis. And these things interest me. And I think that when it comes time to engage in baby step 4, I think that I'll be in a pretty good position to engage, utilizing this book as a resource. And this is where I'm at now, utilizing the principles of day trading and applying that to cryptocurrencies, right? And I believe that it's important to understand what and how the cryptocurrency, what the cryptos operate on and how they function. And that is what got us to the point today where we are reading about blockchain and trying to understand it in simple ways. Now, a lot of what was outlined didn't necessarily, I don't believe a 5-year-old could understand this, because quite frankly, as someone who's going on 45 years old, I'm still having trouble understanding it. This is new technology. And at the same time, it's over a decade old. So it's new, but not really that new. And because, in my humble opinion, I believe that blockchain-based technologies are going to be a very much an integrated part of our society moving forward in the future. I believe that there are benefits to understanding the technology now in order to stay ahead of the curve. And some of the ways that you can do this and stay ahead of the curve are by, for example, following this guy and another individual who I follow on Twitter for some good information, and he's generally sharing a lot of good information, is Cyprian, formerly known as Vin Armani, formerly known as, I'm not sure what his other name was in his Hollywood days, but he's got some good insight into blockchain technology, as does Hotep Jesus, right? Who also has an app called the the Bitcoins app. I don't use it, but I know a lot of people that do, and the way that works, from my understanding, and I'm not sure, there's a number of things like this, and different cards, debit cards, credit cards that I have yet to explore, because there's a lot of things on my plate. But with this Bitcoins app, or whatever Hotep Jesus' app is, it allows you to collect spare change on from your online transactions and convert that into Bitcoin. So it is perhaps the easiest way to acquire Bitcoin if you just want to begin obtaining some without really thinking about it. Whereas I wish to acquire, I'd like to acquire Bitcoin while learning about it. I'd like to acquire all cryptocurrencies while learning about it. And in terms of blockchains, there are different blockchains out there. And again, I'm no expert. I am no, I'm not providing any advice. I'm just sharing what I've learned through Twitter threads like I've read, and what I've gleaned elsewhere. But from my understanding, there's multiple different blockchains, right? And each one can support different types of currencies on that. There is the primary currency that was established with the blockchain, and then there's different forks of that. And that is my basic understanding. Okay, so think of, I'm not even going to try to make any analogies. There were good analogies made in this Twitter thread. That's really all I've got to say about this today. Even though I've taken the day off of work because I've got these appointments in the afternoon, and I originally planned on going into work, but I have enough going on personally that I can really benefit from the 5 or 6 hours that I will have here at the home office working on personal things, doing prep work for tonight's class and everything else that's going on. So I'm going to wrap it up now. Go ahead, get this show uploaded, and get on with my day. I hope that this show was of value to you, and if you believe that it was, I would encourage you to check out show notes for links to everything that was talked about today, as well as links to where you can find us on social media. And the primary platforms that we are on right now in social media is Twitter. I do share to Facebook. There is an official Facebook page for the podcast, which is new. If you're a Facebook user, go ahead and go to the show notes, like the page, share episodes from there. Let's spread the word. I created that just a month or two ago. I haven't gone out of my way to promote it. I'm not a very active Facebook user, so if you want to help with that, hit me up and let me know. I'd love to make you an admin. Love to have you help out with spreading the word about the show and what we're doing in the little community that we're building, and simply trying to create an environment online where we can connect with others to grow the life and homestead of our dreams. So again, all social media platforms are linked to in the show notes as well, including Telegram, which is where a lot of us are most active, t.me/allaroundgrowth. And if you are on Telegram, but you don't want to participate in another chat group, but you do want to subscribe to a channel just to get updates from the show when new episodes drop, there is a broadcast channel at t.me/allaroundgrowthpodcast. And finally, if you have any questions or feedback for me directly and you don't want to do anything with Telegram, Facebook, or any social media, you can simply send me an email at allaroundgrowth@gmail.com. And for those of you that do send emails, I appreciate it. I enjoy the feedback with you. Keep them coming. Keep the feedback coming online as well. I appreciate it. And let me know what you think about today's show and the referencing and reading of Twitter threads and sharing them, because I've got some ideas about that as well for future podcasts. So that's it, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. And this is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.